I'm Neliana Ferraro with your spring break hair tutorial. And here is my lovely assistant Amanda. She's going to be helping me teach you guys how to pull off the Katniss Everdeen hairstyle. Amanda has this really naturally straight hair, so we can just go ahead and start braiding with that. Hi guys, I'm Neliana Ferraro with Q30 Entertainment. We're here at the TD Bank Sports Center on York Hill. As you can see, the line is really piling up. They're actually separating the boys and the girls. Thanks guys, I know when I'm scrolling through Twitter, some of the hashtags can get a little bit confusing. Here's a breakdown of the confusing hashtags from the last week. Fifth Harmony fans started tweeting with hashtag Dinah Defense Squad. Bob Finn goes to Europe every year to pick out wines for his family's liquor store in Hamden, Connecticut. Mount Carmel Wine and Spirits started off as a general store in 1913. The liquor corner eventually took over. He and his brother Ben kept the family business going.
It was easy to grow into it when it's doing something you love, and we love the whole wine world.
But the wine world could see some changes. Governor Dan Malloy suggested letting owners set their prices closer to wholesale and own a maximum of 6 instead of 3 stores. They would also be allowed to extend their hours to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday and to 8 p.m. on Sundays. Governor Malloy has stated that his proposed changes will help promote competition and make wines like this more affordable for customers.
What I'm trying to do is affect the consumer and lower the cost of alcohol so that we're in line with Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and New York. Right now we're paying about $7 more for spirits than they are in those states, and I think it's terribly unfair to the consumer.
And some buyers wouldn't mind the changes.
I think having the lower prices would be beneficial to everybody, but I don't think they need to be staying open later.
Truthfully, I'm from New York and they are open later in New York. Doesn't seem like a problem.
Finn has not changed the store's hours because he doesn't think it would bring in more customers.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. If you can't buy what you need by 9 o'clock in the evening, then what's the point?
He says Malloy's proposal will let larger companies outprice smaller stores and run them out of business. Finn has a message for the governor.
Pick on another industry. Make heating oil cheaper for people who have a hard time heating their homes. Why pick on this industry? I don't get it.
Neliana Ferraro, Q30 News.
And for Freud, it was the id, the ego, and the superego.
Professor Doris Tishkoff comes in 5 days a week to teach history classes at Quinnipiac University. She uses a textbook as a guideline, but tells stories from her own life to make the material more relatable. Teaching students in Tater 218 is just one of Tishkoff's many passions. Over the years, she has become a tango dancer, an opera singer, and a fan of jazz. Tishkoff also dabbles in piano playing. You can find another one of Tishkoff's passions just by looking around.
As long as I can remember, I've always had my nose in a book. As long as I can remember.
Her love of books started when she was a young girl in foster care.
I never had a library, and it depended on the place where I was, whether they had books. It's a stabilizing thing, because when I had to move a lot, as long as I had those books, I felt more centered.
In her adulthood, Tishkoff has always lived near a major library. Harvard's is one of her favorites.
You could get lost in there. I've sometimes even panicked a little when it was late at night that I might get locked up overnight.
Tishkoff said she's trying to discipline herself and lay off the books, but it's not an easy task.
They're like friends. You don't give your friends away.
Neliana Ferraro, Q30 News. Meet Craig Cedarholm. People at the Redwood Country Flea Market call him the king of the smalls. He sells the trinkets he buys at auctions, everything from military patches to old pins and jewelry.
You know, they come here and they say, oh, I saw that at my grandmother's house 15 years ago, you know, and that's what they like. They like to pick things up that they remember.
Cedarholm got into the flea market business after losing his job in 2009 and comes even in 10-degree winds to make his living.
Because I don't have any money.
Tim Lafferty goes to 15 flea markets each Saturday looking for items to buy and resell. He says the vendors here struggle despite how much the economy has improved.
A lot of the people that show up here with $3 in their pocket, hoping to go home with 50, selling the knickknacks out of their house.
But in these hard times, the flea market has turned into a community for many of the regulars, including John Vanacore.
I mean, it's nice when you go to a market and they know you so well that you can buy something, you don't have the cash in your pocket, you can pay them later.
Bob Ketcarthers doesn't know a lot of the vendors personally, but still feels connected to them.
I feel like I'm among my brothers when I'm here.
Ketcarthers has been coming to Wallingford to buy inexpensive tools for 40 years. Vendors are packing up here at the Redwood Country Flea Market, but they'll be back tomorrow for another cold day. Until then, Lafferty has some advice for vendors.
You can't give up. The world wasn't built in one day.
Neliana Ferraro, Quinnipiac News.